This is the Roulette Master, and I am so excited today to share with you an incredible new roulette system called the Corner Connection Roulette System by Craig. And this looks fantastic. I can't wait to share it with you. Today, we're going to put it in a head-to-head battle with another fantastic roulette system, 9th Street Roulette. And I can't wait to see which one wins and which one makes the most money. So let's get started and place those bets. You can pick any 9 streets that you want. So let's do that. And once you get to $45, you know that you have 9 of them out there. And let's go ahead and spin, and I'll share with you how to make money with this one as well. But really excited about the new one of the day coming up. Both of these are fantastic, and that's a $15 win. We're up 15. Let's just rebet and spin, and here we go. Let's see what we get here. That's a 4 black, and we lost, so we're going to have to double up. This is a $2,000 bankroll system. You can play this with a $400 bankroll if you start with a $9 bet, and that's $1 on each. So that's a 29 black, and that's a $30 win. We need to get 2 of those before resetting. So let's see what we get here. And that's a 34 red. We lost again, it appears. So we need to double up again. So temporarily, we're at minus 90. But after we get 2 wins here, which I think we will, let's find out. We're going to be just fine. That's the 30 red. Okay, fantastic. There's one of them. Let's get the second one. We do have nice coverage, so let's see what we get on here. All right. That's a 26 black. There's our 2 wins, so we're back up. We're going to go ahead and go all the way back down to 45 and then build it back up. So let's do that and spin. And here we go with 9th Street Roulette. All right, there's a nice $15 win. We're up 45. Let's just rebet and spin. Those $15 wins will start to add up, and then we should see some nice profit. That's a 24 black. $15 win. We're up $60 currently. And once you get up, $200, $300, that's a good time to cash out. But we're going to test it for the full 15 minutes like we always do. And that's another loss with a 4 black. So we're going to double up from 45 to 90 and spin. And here we go. That's a 23 red. Okay, that's a nice $30 win. We need 2 of those, so let's rebet and spin. And here we go. That's a 33 black. There's our 2 wins. So now we can reset. We're up 75. So let's go back to 45. And let's start making that $15 per spin again and build up our profit. Here we go. That's a 5 red. Okay, we lost that one. Let's go ahead and double that up to 90 and spin. And here we go. And I'm really excited about the Corner Connection Roulette system coming up as well. So make sure you stick around for that. And let's get a second win here at 90 so we can get back to base level here. Here we go. That's a 7 red. Okay, we did it. So we're back up 90, and we're going to go back to 45. And spin. Here we go. That's a 16 red. Okay, that's a nice win there. We're up 105. All right, let's rebet and spin here. Okay, that's a 9 red. $15 win. We're up 120. And here we go again. Okay, that's a 4. That's another loss. So we're going to have to double up again. Let's go ahead and do that. That's why we have the bankroll. And that dropped us to 75 profit temporarily, but we should be able to get it back here and recover. That's an 18 red. That's a good start. Okay, so let's go ahead and repeat that and spin. And here we go. Let's see if we can get our second win here with 9th Street Roulette. And that's an 11 black. There's our second win. We're back up $135. So let's go back to 45 and spin. And here we go. So now it's starting to add up. And that's a 21 red. That's a good win. So we'll rebet and spin. We're currently up $150. And here we go. That's a 9 red. Another good win. We're up $165. Now you're starting to see those profits pile up, and let's see what we get here. That's a double zero. We definitely lost that one. So we'll need to double up from 45 to 90 and spin. All right, here we go. That's a 6 black, and that's another loss. So that's back-to-back losses. Let's double up from 90 to 180. That's why we have a good bankroll. And again, if you can't afford that, just use dollar units and use a $400 bankroll. My goodness, we just lost again. That's 3 in a row. So we'll double up again to 360 here. And I bet we get the win here. Usually you don't get this many losses with 9 streets. There's a 120 win. We're at minus 30. We need a second one of those. And here we go. Okay, there it is. 15 black. Let's see where that puts us. We're back up 90. We need to get one more win because we had so many losses. Or you can just take a hit and start building it back up. But we're going to try to get one more win, and we got it. That's a 17 black. And you only have to do that if you have a bunch of losses in a row. We're back up $210, so we're going to drop back to 45. And it's up to you if you want to take that extra risk to get one more win. But again, if you lose 4 or 5 in a row, you might need to do that to stay in session profit. So that's good to know. And that's a 14 red. All right, so we're up 225. Let's rebet and spin and start adding $15 per spin to our profit. And that's a 9 red. Okay, that's a $15 win. We're up 240. Okay, let's rebet and spin. Here we go. That's a 0. We lost that one for sure. Okay, so let's double that up and go from 45 to 90 and spin. Now let's see if we can get a couple wins. Here we go. That's a 2 black. We lost again, and we've had way more losses consecutively than what you normally get, but that's okay. That's why the bankroll's there, to try to help us recover. And that's a 27 red. Okay, that's a $60 win. Let's get one more of those so we can reset. Here we go. That's an 8 black. All right, so we're back up 225. Let's reset to 45. And spin. Here we go. Back at the base level for 9th Street Roulette. And that's a 32 red. Nice win there. We're up 240. And, we're going to play for the 15 minutes like we always do to test these strategies out to see the good and the bad. But when you get up, $250, $300, it's probably a good time to cash out. And we're up 255. Let's rebet and spin. And then you can declare victory over the casino and know that you're a winner for the day. And don't keep playing until, that something bad happens. And let's go ahead and double that up and spin. And here we go. That's a 15 black. Okay, that's a win there. Let's rebet and spin. Try to get our second win. And here we go. All right, that's an 18 red. We got it. So we're up 270 now. Let's drop back to 45 and spin. Here we go. That's a 33 black. That's a $15 win. We're up 285. Let's see how many wins we can get at base level here. Sometimes you can get a good amount of them. And that's a 35 black. But not this time. Let's go ahead and double that up to 90 and spin. And here we go. That's a good one. 17 black. All right, let's get one more win there. We're currently up 270. And let's keep building the profit up. Here we go. But that's a 3 red. That's got to be a loss. So we're going to go ahead and double up again from 90 to 180 and spin. Again, we can do that with that $2,000 bankroll or a $400 bankroll if you want to use dollar units. That's a $9 starting bet. And that's a $60 win there. We're up 240. All right, let's rebet and spin. Try to get one more win. Here we go. That's a 14 red. That'll do it. Okay, so we're back. Now we're up $300. That's fantastic. So let's drop back to 45 where we started and spin again. Again, you can bet on any 9 streets that you would like. If you want to pick some different ones, that's fine. That's a 32 red. Okay, now we're up 315. And again, we're going to keep playing so that we can, you can see the ups and the downs of each system. But when you're playing in the casino, this would be a good time to cash out and declare victory. Okay, that's a $15 win. We're up 330. And if you want one of those shirts that I wear in the casino that reminds me to cash out and declare victory, you can get those at theroulettemaster.com. And again, they say cash out on the front, declare victory over the casino on the back. I wear them just to remind me to be smart. And when I'm having a good day, cash out and know that I'm a winner. And, the worst days are the ones where you win a lot and you're way ahead and then you give it all back. And then we're up 360. Let's rebet and spin. And those are usually the days that you end up losing the most because you're trying to get back to where you were. And when you get greedy, that's when bad things happen. That's a $15 win. We're up 375. And let's rebet and spin. So when you're up and you're having a good day, you can still stay in the casino and have a good time without continuing to play at the same level. We're up 390. Let's rebet and spin. And your options are, you could just bet small and stick around, or you can. What I like to do is once I've won my money for the day, if I'm with friends, I'll go around and watch them play. We're up 405, or I'll just get a free drink and I'll go sit in the sports book, enjoy the nice comfortable chairs, and talk to some people. And I think that's fun as well. I just love the environment of the casino, and I love everything about it. That's why I go all the time, and it's just something I really enjoy. That's a 22 black, and that's a $30 win. We're up 390. Let's drop back to 45. Let me know what you think. Do you love the casino environment so much that you'd stay after you're done gambling? Let me know down in the comments. And that's a 3 red. That's a $45 loss. Let's double that up and spin. And I don't know what it is, but I love good air conditioning. I just love the feel of a casino, and I like walking around too and seeing people winning when they do win and all that good stuff. And it's good. You can have some good conversations with people as well, and congratulate other people when they win. That's a $30 win. We're up 405. Let's go back to 45 and spin. And here we go. Let's see. That's a 00. Okay, that's a loss. Let's double that up. And if you get, just get a free drink and walk around, you'll see somebody winning like a $12,000 or $15,000 jackpot every 10 or 15 minutes. If you keep walking around, it's kind of fun to watch when people win. We're up 390. Let's rebet and spin. And here we go. That's a 36 red, and that's a loss. So we're going to need to double that up again to 180 and spin. And let's see if we can get a win here. That's a 10 black. Okay, and we're up 360. And when you're up a lot like we are right now, if the bets get high, don't go for the second win. Just take a little bit of a hit and restart. So let's go ahead and do that just as a just to kind of show you what I do. If I'm up a lot and the bets get big, I just reduce them back down. And we would have won anyway, but you never know. That could have been a 0 followed by a 00. Now we're up 375. Let's rebet and spin. And here we go. But try to protect what you've won. And once you're up a good amount, and that's a 30 red. Okay, that's a $15 win. We're up 390. Let's go ahead and rebet and spin, and let's see what we get here. That's a 23 red. That's a $15 win. We're up 405. All right, let's rebet and spin here. Okay, that's a 7 red. Another $15 win. We're up 420. All right, we're coming down the stretch here. It's almost time for that new system of the day. Can't wait for that. And that's a 4. That's a loss. So let's double that up and spin at 90 here. And that's a 9 red. That should be a good win. And we just ran out of time. So so after 15 minutes, Ninth Street Roulette made $405 in profit. I hope you enjoyed that. And let me know in the comments what you think of Ninth Street Roulette. But now it's time for that new roulette system of the day. I can't wait for that. So let's jump right in and get started and see if it can make more than $405 in the next 15 minutes. Here we go. All right, the time is finally here for the incredible new corner connection roulette system. Let's place the bet. And we're going to look at the last number that hit the 23. And we're going to put a $5 bet on a quarter that includes the 23. You can see we have a zero balance. Let's go ahead and spin. And I'll share with you the amazing progression of this plus jackpot potential. And that is a loss. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add a corner where the third includes the 35. And then we're going to add 1 unit to each of those. So they're going to go from $5 to $10 each. And let's spin. And here we go. And we're looking for repeaters or numbers that are close to repeaters. And that's a 30 red. And we lost that one. So now you're going to see some jackpot potential. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add 1 in on that 30. And then now we're going to have some jackpot numbers on the 32 and the 33. Remember that we add this in at 10 because the rest of them are already at 10. And then we add 1 unit to each. So now they all become $15. And let's go ahead and spin. And again, now we have 2 big jackpot numbers out there. That's a 4 black, and that's a loss. So now we're going to add this 4th one in at 15. Okay. So let's make sure that's 15. It is. And then now we're going to go ahead and double that bet. So let's go ahead and do that and spin. All right, here we go. That's a 22 black. And that's a $150 win. How about that? We're up 80 bucks. So now we're going to restart, and we're going to start with 1 on the 22 corner. And again, it could be any corner that includes the 22. Let's go ahead and spin, and here we go. And if you hit one of those jackpots in this, it's going to pay huge. That's a 27 red. Okay, we lost that one. So let's add 1 in on the 27 there. And then we're going to add $5 to each. So now they're at 10 each. And let's go ahead and spin. So twice we go up 1 unit. And that's a 32 red. Okay, so let's see what we have here. They're at 10. So we're going to add this one in at 10. And then now we're going to add a unit to each. Okay, so now they're at 15 each, and that's a $45 total bet. Now we have 2 massive jackpots on the 29 and the 30. Let's go ahead and spin. Hit the 30. Oh, boy, that was close. That's a 26 black, but we still got a $90 win out of it. So that would have been huge, though. We're up $145 already. So we're going to restart with a corner including the 26, and let's go ahead and spin. And the really cool thing is, you know how sometimes you see 3 of the same number hit consecutively? This is going to really pay when that happens. And that is a loss. So now we're going to add the 25 in, and now we already have 2 jackpots, and they go from 5 to 10. Now we have jackpots on the 23 and the 26. All right, let's go ahead and spin, and here we go. We added 1 unit to each, and that's a 3 red. That's a loss. And remember, these are at 10 now, so we have to add the one that just hit in at 10, and then we add a unit to each. Okay, and let's go ahead and spin. Now we have a $45 total bet out there, and here we go. That's a 12 red. Okay, we lost that one. So remember, now they're at 15, so we have to add that one in at 15. And then we're going to go ahead and double them up now. So twice we go up a unit, then you double up. And let's go ahead and spin. And here we go. That's an 11 black. That's a $150 win. So now we're up $225 already. Let's start with this one right here that includes the 11 and spin. And sometimes you're going to get a repeat of a number or something close to it. And it's going to really pay when you're only betting on 4 numbers. So but you don't depend on that. And let's see. So now we're going to add in the 24 and then go up a unit on each. We do that twice. So the next one we go up a unit also. But you have to remember to put them in where the other ones are already at first. That's a 13 black, and we lost. So we have jackpot numbers again, and they all go up a unit to 15. Now the 10 and the 11 are huge jackpot numbers. And here we go. And a good time to cash out with this one is when you hit a jackpot, and that's a 20 black. But that's a good $90 win right there. We're already up $290. So really good start, and let's see how this continues. And I'm excited to see where this takes us. And that's a 2 black, so we're going to add one in there. Then we add a unit to each. So now they're at 10, and let's see what we get here with 8 numbers covered. And that's a 14 red. It almost hit the 2 there, so let's go ahead and add one in there at the 14. And remember, we have to add that in at 10, and then they all go up a unit. So let's go ahead and do that, and then spend at $45 total bet. That's an 11 black. Okay, now we're going to have some jackpot numbers. So those were all at 15. So we're going to add this one in at 15, and then we're going to double the bet. Now we have 2 massive jackpots on 14 and 15. Let's go ahead and spin. And here we go. This is a $2,000 bankroll system, and that's a 35 black. Okay, we lost that one. So now you have to look and check and make sure they're all at 30. So we need to add this one in at 30. And let's go ahead and get it at 30. And then we're going to double up. But all of a sudden now we have 5 of them out there. Let's go ahead and spin. $300 total bet out of this $2,000 bankroll system. And that's a 17 black. And that's a $240 win. We're currently up $340. And you can see we didn't even hit a jackpot, but it still paid really well. So if we had hit the 14, 15, it would have been massive. And hopefully we'll see one of those today. Let's go ahead and spin here with the 17 covered, and here we go. And you could definitely do this with dollar units and be much safer. If you want to do that, that would work as well. And but in the meantime, let's add a unit to each of those and spin. And here we go. So if you wanted to play this really safe, instead of using $5 units and a $2,000 bankroll, I would do dollar units with a $1,000 bankroll. And that would be much, much safer. But boy, this is really making money right now. So we lost that one. We already have another jackpot, it looks like. So we increased those by 1 unit. Now we have a jackpot on the 5 and the 6. So if we get something close to that repeating, man, it's going to be huge. That's a 28 black. And we lost that one. So these are at 15. So we add that one in at 15. And then now we're going to double those and spin. And let's see if we can get a win here. Okay, that's an 18 red. And we lost that one. So let's see what those are at now. They're at 30. So we need to add this one in at 30. And now we have a jackpot on the 17. Look at that. And we're going to double that bet up and spin. And if we hit the 17, it would be massive right here. That's a 13 black. And we lost. So now we're going to have to add one in on the 13 black. And now look at this. This is insane. So now we're going to add 60 right here. Okay. And the problem is, if we have a bunch of losses at this point, we do have nice coverage. But if we get a bunch of losses here, we're going to be in trouble. That's why I think dollar units with a $1,000 bankroll would be much safer. But if we hit the 17 here, it would be incredible. And we have the 16 jackpot here. Let's go ahead and spin and see what happens. All right, here we go. That's a 7 red. Ouch. Okay, so that's the problem with this bankroll. We only have $1,200 left. We can't increase the bet anymore, so we have to leave it here at 720. So what I'm going to do after this is let's test this with dollar units and a $1,000 bankroll because I like the idea. I think the bets might be a little bit high. See what I'm talking about there? So now we only have 500 left. We need to do this with dollar units. So let's go ahead and start over. And we're at, so basically we would have been on track to lose our bankroll with that one. Let's go ahead and start over, and we're going to use dollar units on this one, okay? And here we go. All right, let's go ahead and reset it. And here we go. So let's use dollar units this time and see what happens. And spin. I think it's a great way of playing, but I think $2,000 bankroll for $5 units is just not enough. Okay, so we lost that one. And if you hit the 0, you just spin again because you don't have a number to add in. So let's go ahead and do that. And hopefully you guys agree with me that it could be a really good system. It's just I think it needs a larger bankroll, not a larger bankroll, but a larger bankroll in proportion to what we're doing. So let's go ahead and add another one here and then add a unit to each. Okay, and then spin. And then do this with a $1,000 bankroll on dollar units instead of a $5 unit with a $2,000 bankroll. I don't think that's going to work. So let's go ahead and add. That's a double 0 though, so we have to. Let's see. We have to remember where those are at because we're going to have to knock those out. We're going to have to spin again because we hit another double 0. And here we go. That's a 5 red. Okay, so let's see here. Those we had 2 of them at 2 each there, and then we hit the 5, and then we need to add a unit to each, so they'd be at 3 each now. And let's spin. And I'm very interested to see. I think this will do really well with dollar units and a $1,000 bankroll. And let's see how much money it makes in this last 4 minutes here. And let's go ahead now and add a 4th one in at 15. But remember, you have to check and see where they're at. They're at 3. And then you double. Okay, and then let's go ahead and spin. This will give you more of a sufficient bankroll, I think, to be patient. And that's a 30 red. And we lost there. And I'm glad we're losing just so you can kind of see on this one. And you can see we were at 6 each. So we're going to add this one at 6 in. And then we're going to double. And let's see what this makes when we win. And we got a jackpot number out there as well now. Just with dollar units, and that's a 32 red. Okay, so that's a $48 win. We're up 10 bucks with dollar units, and then let's start again. Let's see if we can get in the groove with this, and I think this could work really well, but I would not play it with $5 units in a $2,000 bankroll. Okay, so let's go ahead now, and we'll add that 11 in, and then add a unit to each, and spin, and here we go. The bankroll, the size of the bankroll in the starting bet is probably the most important thing to all systems. That's a nice $14 win. So we're up 23 with dollar units. Let's start again and spin. And here we go. And if you're playing somewhere where you have to have at least a $3 bet on an automated machine, just start with 2 of them. So, but we need to spin first before we put that out there. We hit another 0. We've hit lots of zeros today, so let's see what we get on this one. That's a 6 black. Okay, so we had one here, and then now we have a jackpot number at 2 each. So if you have to have a $3 minimum bet, just start with the last 2 numbers, just like this, with $2 on each, and then spin, and then you basically just skip a step. But that way, some places aren't going to let you start with just a dollar bet. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a 3rd one in. They're all at 2. Now we make them all 3. And let's spin. I think the idea is great. It's just it just needed a bankroll and starting bet adjustment. And okay, that's another loss. Remember, these are at 3, so we'll add this one in at 3. And then we'll double them up from 12 to 24 and spin. And here we go. That's a 20 black. Okay, we lost that one. So they were at 6, so we add this one in at 6. Now we have a jackpot. And then we're going to double those up and spin. So the first 2 we add a unit, then you double up after that. And you don't go past 6. So we haven't talked about that yet. Let's cover everything here, and we just lost again. So let's see where we were at. We're at 12, and now we're going to have another jackpot, and then double, and we don't go past 6, so we're at 6 right now. Okay, so we're at 144 total bet. I'm glad we did this just so you could see the end result there, and that's a 28 black. And we lost again. So we do not add any more after this point. We just double up. This is why I think a $1,000 bankroll would be good for dollar units. And that's a 5 red. Okay, and that's a $144 win. You can see, though, we're not in session profit at that point. We would just have to rebet that again and hopefully get a second win. And here we go. That's a 29 black. And we lost again. So let's see what we would have left in our bankroll. We'd have 700. We could double one more time. And we're almost getting in trouble with dollar units here. Let's see what happens. That's a 26 black. And we are getting in trouble with dollar units. In fact, we would lose that $1,000 bankroll with dollar units. So let me know down in the comments. The 15 minutes is up now. Let me know down in the comments how you can make this system better. I think there's definitely something to it, and there's definitely a lot of repeat numbers that come up. But let me know how you can make this system better, and I would love to hear from you. You can send that to roulettemaster.c@gmail.com. That's also where you send the new systems, and I really appreciate everyone sending the systems in. You guys are fantastic, and just love the search for the best roulette system possible each and every day, and hope you do as well. If you're enjoying it, please like, share, and subscribe, and let's keep growing this community of people that love roulette. This is the Roulette Master, and have a great day, everybody.